Well, I'm your host, HD. I think we in the episode. I think we in the 30s now. I don't know. I don't know by the time I do the title. We got our lovely guest with us today, Miss Maya Alexis. She is a cloud engineer, and we finna just wrap tonight. But without further ado, here's my guest. Let's hit the record scratch for her real quick. How you doing tonight?
Hi, how are you? I'm good.
All right. Can you introduce yourself for our guest, please?
Hi, my name is Maya Alexis. I am a recent college graduate and I am now a cloud engineer in the finance tech industry. I also have my own YouTube channel called Maya Alexis where I talk about getting AWS certified, going into computer science while you're in college, and also just encouraging women to get into tech.
Perfect. So we'll start it off like this. First of all, everybody, if y'all on the channel right now, y'all know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to her channel, share this out for the YouTube algorithm. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts, please follow the podcast. But so, Miss Maya, I guess I'll start off with this. What made you want to enter into the tech space?
So I always kind of had a passion for computers and things like that when I was little. And I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian. So while I was in college and stuff, I was in a vet academy. I was about to be certified to be an assistant before I graduated. And then I watched a dog get an ACL surgery and I realized that wasn't what I wanted to do because I felt like I was going to pass out. So my mom was like, well, you're about to start applying for college. You've always been good at computers. Try to look into some research on like what you could do with computers. And so when I was doing my research, I saw something called computer science and I was like, maybe I would like that. And then I ended up going to college, majoring in it, and I actually really enjoyed it. And so that's what made me go into it.
Nice. So I can't remember because this whole collab came about because you came across my timeline on
Mhm.
Twitter,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to remember without being wrong. Uh, what area are you from?
I live in Dallas, Texas.
Okay, cool. So what without if it's not too much information, what college did you go to for undergrad?
I went to University of North Carolina at Charlotte, and that's in North Carolina. That's where
Okay.
I went to. Yeah.
So are you from the East Coast?
Yeah, I was born and raised in North Carolina, and then I moved to Texas recently because of my job.
Okay, we'll get into that. So what I'll do is I'll segue into this real quick and pretty much ask you how was it majoring in computer science, because I remember back then when I had the choice of computer information systems or computer science, I didn't want to do computer science because it was more programming based and I didn't
Hmm.
really feel like, number one, learn how to program, and two, some of those instructors they had weren't necessarily from here, so it wasn't their native language, and I didn't want to go through the trouble of trying to understand them and not being able to learn how to program effectively. And back then, they didn't have as many outside areas that you can self-pace yourself learning how to code like there are now. So I was like, why even bother with that? But
Yeah.
could you tell the audience a little bit about like your experience, like being a Black woman majoring in computer science in college?
Yeah, so I will say it definitely was it was difficult, and not only was there like discrimination because I was black, but there was also discrimination because I'm a woman. So oftentimes in my classes there may have been maybe three or four or five women that looked like me or they were like my color and in a room full of people who weren't. So just kind of having to learn how to navigate what it's like to be around these people who are not minorities and kind of like assert myself in situations like when it comes to doing a lot of pair partner programming and them kind of like not believing me when I would say, hey, like we should do the code like this or that. And so I had to deal with that type of stuff. And but the biggest thing I said that helped me get through college is I joined the National Society of Black Engineers, and that gave me the confidence that I needed to pursue with my classes. I met people that were higher upperclassmen, and so they really helped me with my work. I don't think I would have probably dropped out if I wouldn't have found my own community. And so I also started stopped being like shy in my classes. And if I saw somebody that was a woman or I saw someone that was black, I would immediately ask them like, did they want to create a group chat or anything? And so we would start making group chats to go over to work together because my a lot of my professors were not like good professors. And so or we had like a lot of flipped classroom options where your teacher didn't teach at all. You kind of had to learn on your own, and they would give you YouTube videos to watch and programming assignments. So we kind of all had to just like struggle and learn together rather than the teacher helping us. And like if you did ask the teacher questions, she would be like, well, you should have looked at the videos or blah, 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 and just not taking accountability and truly caring about us to succeed in these classes. But I established really close relationships with my um, teachers' assistants, especially if they were a minority, and I got a lot of help from them. But it definitely was not like a smooth journey. It was a lot of fight, frustration, and I'm glad it happened because it prepared me to go into the real world because the real world is full of non-minorities and it's a male-dominated field in tech. So it helped me learn how to learn what I needed to do when moving forward and what I need to do to have the resources and community that I need to be successful at my job.
That was definitely a good reply. It took me back to my days of when I worked in the engineering building, and that's when I kind of first saw NESB, the actual group. I didn't join because I mean technically I'm not an engineer, uh,
You
but I
still
used
could
to.
have been.
Well, I was so I had a friend. She did. I think she joined the business like fraternity, sorority, what do you want to call it, but the business Delta Sigma Pi.
Hmm.
I had the benefit of like being this guy, which is similar to kind of like what people see on YouTube and Twitter of me is kind of me in real life. Like I had the ability to make friends with everybody. So I had friends that were like athletes, so I was cool with them. I had friends that was in the white frats, I was cool with them. And so when you got them two type of people you cool with, you got access to pretty much just about everything you need, if you get what I'm saying.
Hmm.
But to piggyback on your point about, pretty much trying to partner up with everybody black, that's what we did. It was like I went to LA Tech, so that's a PWI itself. So it wasn't that big of a black. I mean, we had good enough, I guess, black people there, but most of us knew each other. Then in the college of business, most of us that was in the same major, we pretty much made sure, hey, like we was trying to have to, like we were struggling learning visual basic because our professors was horrible. But all of us
Yeah.
would like shoot, be at somebody's dorm or something, and we trying to figure out some simple code. And we stayed up super late. Like it would be me, one of my friends, and then shout out to Joe, man. Joe used to always help me with the code. Matter of fact, Joe used to just give me his code, man. And that's how I got out like two of them programming classes because we never had a good foundation. Like he would just do the stuff, but not really show us what it meant or whatever. And the fact that it was Visual Basic also made it even more frustrating. But
Yeah.
uh, hats off to you for that. A lot of people kind of get nervous and scared, but that actually shows a lot of leadership ability to uh, actually be the person that is doing that, reaching out to people, taking the initiative to start group chats,
Hmm.
different engagements, trying to make sure everybody is passing because nobody gonna look out for y'all like yourselves. So
Yeah. And the
hats off
times
for
like
that.
the times you try to like meet with them, I remember there would be some times where they would say self partner, and then I would kind of be the only one still like sitting there, and all the other guys are like grouping up, and I'm like, dang, like who am I gonna pick? And then I would like see a girl in a corner and run over to her and be like, do you want to be my partner?
Yeah, man. I know I like I always try to empathize and with my black sisters when it comes to school and work because it's different for me, but then it's also even more different for y'all. Like y'all deal with
Hmm.
other things. At least And it's not me being sexist. Those people know at the end of the day, I'm still a man. So it's still certain things that they don't try to do when they still know you're dealing with a man.
Most definitely.
I see a little bit more microaggressions and other little things towards y'all that I've seen kind of firsthand from, friends of mine that on the job. And I tend to, when they're on my team, make sure, hey, they're good or speak up for them, or go to my manager about them if, if they're on another team and I don't really like how it was going because
Yeah.
some people don't care. But can you tell us a little bit, I guess, about like the coursework that you did in computer science, as far as like the core classes that you took that possibly helped you in your transition to be a cloud engineer?
hmm So initially, my I didn't get in for computer science. So I was undeclared my first year, and so I still took the intro to computer science classes. And the foundation at my school is learning Java, and so I would still be in the classes like I was a computer science major, and I progressed and took like number two and things like that. And then when it came time to I made sure I had the right maths and stuff so that I was able to declare. And so I took the whole track as if I was already computer science, and then it was very smooth for me to actually declare my sophomore year. And so during my sophomore year at my school, you have to, if you're computer science, you have to have a minor that's not technology related, and you have to pick a concentration. So I decided to do information systems as my concentration, and my minor was communications. And so I as I progressed more, I had like a mentor from my freshman seminar class, and she was computer science. And so I was telling her how I was concerned with stuff because I was never strong in math, and I knew that those classes was going to start coming up. And so she was like, well, I'm doing a Bachelor of Arts. Why don't you just do a Bachelor of Arts? If you do that one, your math, you only have to take stats two, up to stats two. And I was like, what? There's people out here just taking like stats two, and there's the BS side where you got to go up to like calcs and calc 4 or something like that. And I was like, I'm gonna actually look into it. So I ended up switching my major to a BA, and I changed my concentration to computer. Wait, is it? What is it? uh, Human computer interaction. And no, it wasn't human computer interaction. UI UX. I was doing UI UX as my concentration. And so when I went through school, I didn't have to take the highest math I had to take was stats 2. And then when it came to science, I took like earth science or something. So it was a very easy thing when it came to math. I still struggled in those classes because I wasn't strong in math. But when it came down to my actual computer science classes, I took more Java classes. I had to take a Python class. I took one C# class, and I was kind of learning them all at the same time. That was pretty hectic. So if you're like in college, try not to take a bunch of different coding languages at the same time. That's a lot to deal with. And then once I got into my actual concentration, I started doing more UI UX things, and I realized I did not like UI UX. And so I ended up I dropped out of school for a semester because I went to Nesby and I got a co op with Toyota. And so I moved to Dallas and I worked at Toyota. And that's where I got exposed to cloud. And that team there was first getting onboarded into AWS. So they put us all in a classroom. They brought in a trainer to teach us about AWS, show us about AWS. And before that, I didn't even know cloud existed. And I definitely didn't know about AWS. I didn't know Amazon had a whole tech service like that. And so I got really interested in it. And my boss was like, you should take the test with them. Just because you're an intern doesn't mean you shouldn't. And so they paid for it. They provided me with the materials and stuff. And I was like, I might as well do it. And so when I did it, I failed the first time because I thought it was going to be like easy. It was just a basic certification. And that made me shut my mouth. So I actually started like studying and stuff. And then I passed it. And my boss was like, well, before you leave, I recommend that you take another one since you did good on it. and he paid for that one too. So I was like, okay, let me actually take it serious, and I ended up passing and getting 2 AWS certifications. Then I went back to school, finished out the UI UX concentration, and I graduated. So before I even had graduated, I had the 2 AWS certifications.
Hey, hats off to you because you kind of beat me into some questions I was going to ask you
I'm sorry.
after this. No, you good. You're good, but you're pretty much demonstrating of what I've been talking about the last couple of episodes that people will see when they keep on dropping is the fact that us going to college ain't really preparing us for the real world, and the curriculums are outdated.
Yeah,
The fact that we learning more outside of school than in school is a problem, and this is why there's a rise of boot camps and courses and everything else because they're more relative to what's actually happening today.
yeah,
The fact you said, "Hey, I didn't know about AWS," the same thing I said, "Hey, I didn't even know about certs until my going into my senior year. Nobody told me about these different certifications." So it's like the same thing. And to piggyback on what you're talking about, learning all those subjects, that reminds me of my sophomore year. We were on the quarter system, and so
hmm,
those classes tend to be a little longer than semesters. And I had like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 4 classes a day. Man, that was probably the worst semester, well, quarter ever, because I was always busy and I couldn't get anything done. It just was, a mess. It was also like, I mean, it was like a rule of thumb: don't take math and reading the same semester or quarter. And I mean, all those different things like that you really don't be prepared for you when you get in school. 'Cause it's totally different from when you was in high school. And the
yeah,
fact, throw in the fact that most of the time you have to retake some classes you just took 2 years before in
yeah,
high school, and you kind of get disinterested in it. That's how I am. I'm not interested in learning stuff I already learned about.
yeah. And to know like you'll never use this stuff again, like all of that stuff that I was sitting there struggling and crying over the test for and stuff, none of that stuff even matters anymore. I don't use any of that. Stuff doesn't even cross my mind or come across my desk at work. So it's kind of like, if I would go back in time, the only thing I would say about college is it gave me opportunities that I could, some of the stuff I couldn't have had experienced if I didn't go to college, especially when it comes to like social networking and stuff. Like I probably wouldn't have known what Nesby was until I went to college. But if I would go back, a cheaper option definitely would have been just to go to a coding boot camp, and you would have just got straight in.
And that's a big fact. So you kind of already gave me this answer, but I'm gonna talk about it again. So pretty much, your internship was the co-op with Toyota, and were you working at the Plano campus?
Yeah.
It's nice.
Right.
They never like when it comes to security, they never have a solid team. They're always just hiring contractors. I was
Oh,
actually It's been a couple of times I've interviewed for like different roles with them throughout the years. It's crazy. Like they never hire full time employees,
yeah.
which also lets me,
Sorry, go ahead.
huh?
When I've
No,
met
you go ahead.
people in the cybersecurity part, they're always a part of another company or like a consultant or something like that. Yes.
Right, which lets me know that as a whole, they don't really know what they're trying to do with their cybersecurity strategy. Therefore, it's a good place to just go make some quick money. But when it comes to if you want some longevity there, that's not the place to go because every year, yeah, it's the same different type of people that are trying to get people to work at the Toyota thing. So I don't know when they are going to eventually get a real team there, but people would like love to go there just to be in over there close to Legacy West working on that beautiful campus. But so that was pretty much just your internship, which you got immense value. And it's one of the things when I do have some college clients, I tell them, hey, if you can from day one when you're a freshman, apply to internships. I got bad advice that said, hey, wait till your junior year. When in all actuality, if you just start from freshman year, you never know what shot to land. But If you do good at an internship, they might just let you keep coming back over the summer.
Yeah.
Do different, or you can do different ones, but you're gaining experience, which a lot of people don't get. And combine that with sometimes your school may or may not even really care about your program that much. It's best to look out for yourself early on, because some companies are always looking for like some young talent to hire, and most of the time they still pay.
Yeah.
I know I've dealt with. I remember a while back. I have a friend who's a lawyer, and we were going back and forth about unpaid internships, and they was talking about like how they do that for like some lawyers and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't care. Like I'm in a field where you're going to pay me. You're not finna get free labor off me. I don't care if you finna promise me a job next week, pay me for it. And that was a disagreement because it's kind of engraved in their mindset about that. And so that's why I think this is just always is one of the best fields to be in currently right now. It's really like they really don't have a label properly. Really being any type of technical role is really more so like having a skilled trade. Now, if once you move past like just being a worker and then you're doing like other business related things, then that might be some stuff that takes some type of education to do because you got to learn how to maneuver and sift through contracts and HR stuff and all this other crap. That's different. But most part, if you're just doing your day to day job, it's more like a high level trade because high skilled trade because you can go do that anywhere.
Yeah. And
But
a lot of stuff is like, depending on the company, a lot of stuff is internal. So you would learn it there anyway. So it really doesn't matter what you did outside of the school because you're still going to have to relearn everything because it's going to be brand new and you can't search it on Google when you're there.
right, definitely. Uh, so that being said, so I'm of the assumption that this is your first actual full time position, right?
Mhm. So it's a little weird because it's my first official full time position. Yeah, it's my first full time position, but I did do another co op and I worked at the company for 8 months and I was working there and only I would work there most of the week and then still be in college and work my college job. But so I still kind of got that little feel for it. I was still doing stuff like a non intern would do because they consider me as full time, especially because a lot of people on my team had quit. So, but yeah, this is my first real job.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm happy for like most of like all you. I sound like an old man because I'll be 30 next month.
Hmm.
It seems like those ages. It's like next year I made like 10 years I've been out of undergrad, so I'm starting to feel like like an old head. But I am like really happy like for all you, especially like the young black people like that are coming out of school getting like actual good careers and
Yeah,
not having to do what I did. Some people try to gatekeep and want y'all to go through the struggle like we did, but I've never been like that.
yeah,
It sucks, but that's I guess that'd be pretty cool. Like, cause now it's kind of like I don't know, the world is pretty much yours. Like, just starting off with that, like with what you're doing in a field that's still fairly new. Like cloud technology is really, as a whole, I would say about 5 years. It's probably a little more than 5 years, but for the most part, the last 5 years when it became more popular, where you start hearing more things about the cloud,
yeah.
and you had different companies doing their own cloud things. So now you have a HBO Max, you have a Paramount Plus, you have a Disney Plus, you have a I know I'm missing one. I mean, of course, Ben had Netflix, Prime, uh, all these different people have been using cloud technology. People probably didn't know they were using it, but they've been using cloud technology, and I think Netflix and Prime probably got like the best solutions so far.
Hmm.
Maybe Disney too.
And
I think they're
Netflix
okay,
uses AWS.
right?
I don't
And
know.
then so right, and then I was also gonna get into gaming. So Xbox is they pretty much shut down Google Stadia's cloud option, and Xbox has X Cloud, which we know for a fact that's off of Azure, and they were already doing a lot of their Xbox Live stuff kind of built off Azure as well. So
Wow.
now we're on that next level where everything is changing. Where now, like with xCloud, you don't even have to download the game; you can play it online.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool. But so like I said, I watched a little bit about your content, and what we're gonna do is tell us now. So how long have you been working as a cloud engineer?
So this is going on my, I'm still very fresh. This is going on my like eighth month now. So I haven't been there
Okay,
a full year yet.
technically on your resume you could say a year. Uh,
But I'm in like a software program, so I have to commit to 2 years with this program, and then after that, you can get promoted or you can leave the company.
okay, so we're gonna talk about two things. Let's talk about the software program first. Is this like a rotational program where you do different things, or what does that entail? If you kind of feel like telling us about that.
Yeah, so the program, you basically apply like you would a regular job. You go through the assessments and things like that. And then like they kind of do this like manager tender thing where you tell them like what you're interested in. You fill out this paperwork about what you know about, what you would like. Then the recruiters start to match you with different managers, and then you see the job description, you meet with the manager. Like there's like a whole month where you're just meeting with different managers, going over different things and seeing if you guys feel like you guys fit with each other. And the manager has to tell you they tell the HR they like you, and you have to say, well, I like him too, and then they'll match you together. And so you can either stay in the program with that manager for the whole 2 years, or after a year you can switch to a completely different team, and they'll rematch you again to if you say like, yeah, I don't think I was really feeling this, I think I want to go more into this interest field. And so they have all different types of fields. If you're interested in UI UX, if you're interested in Java, Python, you want to do mobile app development, all of that stuff, they'll get it down to the actual details of what you want. And I think that's a really good program because I've never heard of that before, where they really like form it to your interests instead of you just applying for a job and it's like you're just going to do this. And
Nice,
oh,
that's cool. So yeah, that's kind of what I figured it was once you said that. I'm glad programs like that exist. Honestly, if I could redo curriculums, I would say the first 2 years would be stuff in your major. Then the next 2 years would be similar to what you see nurses and other fields do that have like clinical.
yeah,
You have 2 years of like mandatory on the job experience where you're getting paid and you're getting actual experience that'll be catered to the path you be in. That's one of the things I would say will make school beneficial because they can have those relationships to actually make that happen over a boot camp. So
yeah.
I think this is very good that you're getting this experience very early on. So now we'll touch on something that you have made a YouTube video on, and can you touch on? Let's see how I'm gonna phrase this. What does a cloud engineer? What does a cloud engineer do? Or we could say, what is your day to day as a cloud engineer?
Mm-hmm.
And what were some misconceptions that you had maybe about working in the cloud before you started this position? You can answer either one of those, either way you feel like it, and
Mm-hmm.
we can go from there.
So for the most part, it's just like, hey, we have these old applications. They're in this old data center. We want to move them into the cloud. So you guys kind of need to refactor the code so that it's able to run in these new data centers. And then also you need to know how to keep maintaining um, these systems in the cloud. And my job has a private cloud, so I don't get to use AWS and all these other ones. They've built their own, so it's kind of just like constantly deploying applications into the cloud. Something breaks, you look into the log, see what's going on, stop it, redeploy something else, or just keep going. There's always updates. There's always just different stuff that needs to be fixed and refactored, and that could break the code. Or and especially because I'm in the finance tech industry, it's really important that you keep stuff maintained and making sure the data is is load balancing to the different data centers correctly, because this is people's real information, financial information, and just making sure the code does what it's supposed to. So the day to day in my life is mostly doing code
Listen.
refactoring, helping to keep things maintained and smooth, and doing up. So yeah, that's all. Just constant refactoring because they already made the code. I'm just maintaining it.
Got you. And I was gonna say that you should definitely do a day in a life video.
I'm a little scared because like the security at my job and stuff, and
Oh,
it's
so
like,
you got to be on site.
yeah,
Are y'all hybrid or is every day on site?
we're hybrid now.
Okay,
And so I
so on
kind of
hybrid,
didn't even know what to talk about because of the stuff that I'm dealing with, people's like bank account stuff. So it's like I don't really even know how to explain like, yeah, I'm doing this other than recording myself on a computer.
yeah. Just to briefly talk about that without you getting yourself in trouble on a video. You can just keep it very vague. More so like my video, what I did was I was just being general on what I was actually doing, but not getting specific on who the person was or what did they do. And I just had my screens blurred out, and then at the end I talked. Some people like to talk through theirs. I mean, or you can also, you don't got to get that. Get even like that. You could also just do a day in a life like TikTok video. So I don't know, but it's pretty like it's pretty cool because everybody. One of the ways that I in my ebook I tell people to how to figure out what they want to do is research on YouTube a day in a life. So and somebody seeing somebody look like you being a cloud engineer in their day in life, they say, "Oh, thank you for this video I've been looking for." Like my video is almost what maybe almost 2 years old now,
Hmm.
and people watch it like every day, and somebody just come on and like thank you for doing this and show me kind of what this day to day was of doing that. So
Hmm.
so yeah, but the next thing we'll go into is that I remember in one of your videos, I think you might have been doing some practice questions from the cloud practitioner test,
Hmm.
but I don't want to put you on the spot like that. We'll do it like this. We'll say if somebody wanted to be a cloud engineer, what would be some skills that they should learn in order to be successful at their job?
So if you wanted to be a cloud engineer, I would say learning how the infrastructure of things work. Like if you have code, learning what the importance of a data center is, and learning like about load balancing and how you have to move the traffic of the application to different parts, and um, learning what it takes to have an efficient and scalable application, and even playing around. And if you know you like Azure and you're researching a company, and or you're applying for a job and you know that it's a cloud in that type of area, learning how that stuff works, even though granted you might, when you actually get into it, because of like security restrictions and stuff, the stuff that you do in a sandbox, you probably would not do all of have access to do all of that stuff in one sitting. So just learning how it works, the background of it, but you'll learn more in detail how your team kind of uses it. Because I remember I was working for a different company and we were using AWS, and that was after I got my certification. So I just thought, oh, these companies are just openly using it. They do whatever. If they want to put up EC2, they do this and do that. But when I got to my job, we had to go through all these different teams. If we wanted the EC2 instance, another team had to set up the EC2 instance, put their security softwares on it, set up the server. Then they would give it to us, and we had to get all this we had to get all this access for different things, and people would be on vacation and would just be waiting, and they was bringing in AWS consultants to come in and help us build up the infrastructure. So it just wasn't a free for all, like, oh well, I know how to do this on my own, I got these certifications. When you actually go to the job, there's a lot of limitations, and it's not centered to one team. All these different teams come together to just have one application running.
Right. And I think what some people don't know about the cloud stuff is like, so I used to pretty much be the lead of our SOC in my old company. they didn't know that we was getting all the logs. So every time somebody started up an EC2 instance or a certain type of instance, or S3 bucket was made public, or they didn't put the block permission on it, or they didn't delete it, or they just was moving, like we was trying to make sure they wasn't exfiltrating data, and it was like probably what 30 gigs more than they normally do, like 5 gigs or whatever. All the different types. So we got the logs for that. So a lot of times we was looking in, okay, boom, this don't match up. Let's see what this dude doing. Oh, this is the first time somebody approached me about it. So sometimes people ain't used to you even policing them on like, hey, are you doing something work related? Like, what is you doing?
Yeah.
You know, the CC their manager in and and get them to answer. But that was pretty cool. Like, look at you. Like, I definitely know that you taking them tests and doing it day to day is sticking, and that's one of the biggest things too as well that I'm all for. Granted, everybody can't do it, but I don't like people to just get certs and not get a chance to really use the knowledge they learn, because what happens is you lose it. It's similar to like going through stuff that we do in college, is that we study for all these courses and classes, but then we learn it for that semester. Then the next semester we don't remember none of it,
Yeah.
because it's just information. It's not stuff they're making practical for us. We're not using it on a daily basis. So
And I've
that's
been
why I always
having
tell
that
people,
kind of with the AWS right now since I'm on it. This is my job and I'm using a completely different cloud. The little detailed parts of AWS is kind of slipping me now because I'm not constantly doing it because I'm tired after work. I don't really want to look at AWS while I just come.
yeah, definitely. And like, I'm just the biggest person of like just learning skills. Don't really worry about the certs too much. Just keep on practicing that every day, so it stick with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the interview, most of the time, I'm not gonna really care about your cert. I'm just gonna ask you, do you know how to do the stuff that's on the job,
Right.
or you can explain it to me. So that's pretty much. I'm glad you said that. And you gave that examples of pretty much of how he thought it might be a free for all. I was like, oh no, it's way more restricted, and that's because of also that what you're in. Like for me, same thing. Like it's different for me being in fintech as well. Like certain restrictions they got, far as applications even on your phone, or how they want you to access information.
Yeah.
I'm used to having my work Outlook and Teams. I'm used to having all that stuff on my phone. It's currently on there. Granted, we're supposed to be hybrid, but uh, well, I got to get my second shot Saturday or Sunday, and then I got to get the booster later on. So I can't go in the office until I'm actually fully shot up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just use that word. So that's it's pretty cool. It's definitely a lot of it's interesting. One of my friends, he like all of this is it's crazy. I wanted to one of the reasons I left my last company is because I kind of wanted to try fintech out. Of course, they get paid well, but I just wanted to see what it has to offer, the differences, and just so I could wheel around my skill set out.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, "Man, I give you." I forgot how many months he said he gave me to actually do fintech, because he didn't do fintech super long. I think I'm on month. I made 3 months now.
Oh wow.
January, yeah, December, January, February. Yeah. So 3 months, and so we just gonna see how it's going so far. The culture's well, and people are nice. So I mean, that's big with me now.
Mm-hmm.
And people are family people, so most people are understanding if you have to do something for your kids and whatnot. And there hadn't been much in my mix, as far as like when it pertains to doing this or my side business. So I knocked on wood with that, but that's for now. Now in the future, we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll cross that bridge when I get there. But um, so yeah, man, I appreciate those answers that you gave. Now here are like some more a little bit, I guess, more interesting questions, as far as I guess work is concerned. Uh, are you the only one of few that look like you or us on your team?
So in my entire department, which is very quite large, there's only two black women, and the one that she's not a developer, she's a project manager, so she wasn't technically directly hired under my company. On my team, um, there's one other woman that's a developer, But yeah, I'm the only black woman that's a developer out of the entire department, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, they got to definitely get that diversity up.
Yeah, I don't, the politics of my job, I think it's more of a, you look, because if I was in that situation, I would be looking out for my people too. So I could say something, but also it's like I see, like if it was me in that predicament, I think I would be hiring more of my people too and looking out for my people. But yeah, it's quite interesting. I don't really understand like how they go about their hiring processes, because how is that possible that there's no one else that looks like me that's a developer? um, I think there's two
Yeah.
black men in general out of the whole department, and that's a little weird to me. But
Yeah,
so,
yeah, definitely. I mean, I know for a fact, like for me, I know it's me, other guy, and then one of the newer women. She started a little bit after me. We were supposed to start at the same time, but our backgrounds took forever to get done.
hmm,
So me and her are pretty tight. I help her out all the time, vice versa. Because I'm, if you come in, I'm gonna make sure you good. A lot of times, sometimes it's a new environment. Y'all don't want to seem like you're asking too many questions. So I'll ask. I have no problem with asking
yeah,
questions. Just making sure I could be that, that solid individual for, hey, you good, you know what you're doing, or I ask questions for everybody. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where some progressive, more, I won't say they're not a progressive company, but I'll say most progressive companies kind of look at it and say, we need to get a little bit more well rounded with our hires, just so we can have better team dynamic, and it just make for a better environment, better thought processes, and everything. Like I know my last company, at one point in time, it was shoot one, two, three. At the beginning when I started, it was three of us, and we all was the best analysts on the team. And then towards we was leaving, it was three of us. We was the best analysts on the team. So I kept on trying to get us hired. I tried for the hardest, the life of me. I tried to get a woman SOC analyst on my team so bad.
hmm,
One, because I want her to smoke the guys at their jobs, and two, just for their representation. I mean, all guys are cool, but I mean, my manager was a woman, but still. But
the good thing.
so you already answered.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go
The
ahead.
good thing I would say is, though, even though I am the only black woman that's a developer, I've had no like bad experience with my team. Like, in fact, I'm very shocked. But because it's in my internships and stuff, I did deal with like a lot of different stuff, a lot of negative experiences. But at this company, I don't feel like people, I'm just not having a problem where I feel like, oh, people aren't listening to me because I'm black or I'm a woman. There's a lot of women in the department, and I just don't deal with those type of microaggressions here, thankfully. And then I've also gotten close. There was three other people that were hired a part of the software engineering program that I'm in. So they put us initially on one team together, and it was three girls and one guy, and we all became very very close. Like there's one I've really gotten close with, and me and her even spend time outside of work together. And she's not black though, but I still enjoy being with her, and she's made my quality of work better. And I'll ask questions. I don't have shame in asking questions either, and I'll ask for her because she's a little shy. But now we ended up separating, and I've started on a new team where it's just me again. But me and her are still very connected. If I need help, I'm pinging her. We're on Zoom trying to help each other figure this stuff out because it's all brand new.
That's good. That's also a testament to their company culture and
Mhm.
the type of people they try to hire. Because I realized though, when you do go to certain companies, yeah, they want to know can you kind of do the work, but they're more concerned about the person over all the technical stuff, because you can always teach somebody that. I mean, based on their resume.
Yeah.
And I've just kind of realized that from interviewing that kind of different fintech stuff. I interviewed at one of the big fours like 2 years ago too, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, they
But
be on,
what you say?
I say yeah, they be on some other stuff.
I mean, no, the interview was cool. I know exactly what part of the interview I messed up at. It is what it is. The timing was off, and honestly, it wasn't. I mean, if I was to get it, it wasn't really worth the jump. I just at that time I was like, I want to do something different.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool because the funny thing is the same thing that happened in my interview. One of my friends interviewed with them. I said, "Here's the question you need to know how to answer." He called me like 3 hours later. He said, "Man, you was right. They show asked me that." I said, "I know they's gonna ask you that. Ask me
Dang.
that. Caught me off guard."
Did you get
Uh,
it?
but nah, he didn't get it either. I think they was on some like, and I mean, I can use this my platform, but I've always felt like I think it's gotten better. But I know in the past, I felt like they used to just interview us just to interview us. Sometimes I don't think they had any intentions on hiring us.
I
That's
could
just me
agree. I
personally.
feel like that happens more often
Like I
than
said,
people say.
yeah, because you come in. I mean, I might do another podcast episode about just story time on freaking. I got a video now about how Texas Instruments ghosted me, but just even going into depth of how you wasted my time. I'm there suited and booted for like 3-4 times, and to tell me I got the position, then over the next couple of weeks to just not even be answering me was like foul.
Wow.
But it let me know I got experience now, wisdom now, the fact that I dodged a bullet. And I had a person from that company come to my team at Optiv. He was like, "Yeah, dude, you dodged the bullet. They hired a person that didn't know what they was doing and all this other stuff, and
Wow.
they was cheap." Like, you know, so it was a valuable lesson, that I learned. That it's one of the things of why I'm personable and why I can, my clients just rock with me just because of actual stuff they going through, I've been through. But yeah, I got stories for days. But I remember you said you had some questions for me,
Yeah.
and I think I got one more for you actually.
Okay.
And then you could, floor is yours. So, what made you want to start a YouTube channel?
So when I first got my certification, I was looking online and I just saw a whole bunch of people were that didn't look like me, and they were talking about how easy it was and this and that. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel so dumb. I had failed my test, and like you got these people here talking about they took five and it was easy, and it only took them like a month or something like that. And I was like, okay. And so as I was searching, I'm like, well, dang, where's the black women at? Like, where's the women at that's doing this? I want to see somebody that I kind of can closely relate to see what they're saying about it. And then I realized there wasn't really. I might have saw one video of a black woman talking about it. So then I decided to. I was like, well, I retook it and then I passed, and I was like, if I don't see the representation, I might as well just do it myself. And so my mom always like tells me how good I am at like communication and stuff, and how I can teach people and stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna just make a video. And so I made the video and I posted it in some Reddit forums. Next thing I know, like the video got like 1,000 views, and like people were just flooding my messages. Back then I didn't have my Instagram connected to my YouTube for safe reasons, but people were finding my Instagram and DMing me and just telling me like, I really appreciate your video, like I've been looking for representation, I wish I saw more of us, I didn't even know like people like you exist, can you answer some of my questions that I have? And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is actually pretty big. And I was like, let me just keep doing it, because if I could go back in time, I wish I had somebody to watch that would consistently keep making
Let's
videos and stuff,
go.
because this is something I wanted to do. And I've just gotten flooded with different messages where people are saying like, thank you for making these videos, thank you for being a representation that we need. We don't see many of us on there, and even if I look now, I still don't see many videos about. It's pretty dominated by minorities on getting cloud certifications and stuff. And I just wanted to make sure I was being realistic and transparent with it, because it's not an easy test. Yes, it's a beginner's test, the cloud practitioner, but it's not as easy as for it could be for somebody else. And then I also wanted to highlight like, hey, I'm still in college and I did this, so you're grown, you can do it. If I could pass and I'm not really good at studying and stuff like that, you could pass too.
Okay.
So, what you
All
saying
right.
is you didn't see my cloud practitioner video.
I did it. I was mostly, I was mostly looking for like black women, so I wasn't
Hmm.
really looking at it.
No, I made mine at the I think I made it at the end of 2020. because I could have been took it, but I was putting off. That's why I normally tell people, hey, and when you think about taking a cert, schedule it because it's gonna make you study and
You said the end
you'll
of
be
20.
more successful at it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I have already taken it by then. I took my test at like the beginning of 2020,
Okay.
so it kept it.
Now my light, one of my lights messed up. But okay. But so that's pretty cool. That's one of the reasons why I started my channel too. It's like, well, one, before this channel, I had a boxing channel. I love boxing, but I was putting too much energy in it, and it wasn't getting the response I needed for me to reason or why I was like putting so much energy in it.
Mhm,
Now it could have paid off, but at the same time, I didn't get the joy and the excitement that I get from when I make videos, like when I create content. Like I love to create content. Like
mhm,
I'm up all the time. Like the video, the snippet that I put out for my last podcast, I put out like I edited stuff out this morning around like 3, I think like 2:30 to 4 o'clock. I was feeding my little girl. I was like, you know what? While she's sitting up or whatever, I'm going to edit. So I love doing that. I didn't get that same feeling. I love boxing, but I didn't get that same feeling creating videos and stuff for
mhm.
it. And it's not a lot of people that like you or me talking about the stuff that we talk about.
Yeah,
And that's what a lot of people say. And I'm very conscientious, like with this whole platform. I don't know if you got a chance to even view like some of my old things, but I started it with the black woman that's in UX and UI.
yeah,
And most of my guests have been black women. Now I will bring on the other uh, eventually or pretty soon, but I wanted to make sure that I highlighted us in these different roles for a reason
yeah,
because we don't at schools they don't us don't come in and talk to the kids about, oh, you can do this and this and this,
no,
and we don't really see us being the professors at school that say, oh, I used to work for this company and do this. So that's what it's all about, to show them that, hey, we out here, we just have been underrepresented, but we're trying to raise the numbers, especially with COVID and a lot of people working from home, people switching, they tired of dealing with this other stuff that hey, we all can eat, they need us. So that's pretty much why I made it, and why I go out and help. I help everybody, but
yeah.
I definitely first and foremost like let my people see me.
And that's very important because, like you said, like there isn't much, and them seeing us, people have told me directly from their mouth, if I wasn't to see these videos, I was gonna quit. Like I needed. I'm so glad I got to see somebody. It made it seem more tangible and relatable to the people. So it's very important.
Man, so this been a very good episode, very informative, from none other than this young lady, Miss Alexis.
Yes, thank you for
Uh,
having me.
is there anything else you want to tell the people as far as like how they can reach out to you on social media or anything else?
Yeah, like you can follow my Instagram. My Instagram is Maya Alexis, Alexus. My YouTube channel is Maya Alexis, and my email. If you find my Instagram or my YouTube, you can always email me.
All right, and y'all already know where to find me, man. Hey, check this out. I got a new page. The TechTual has everything with all my podcasts. Everywhere is distributed. And also, you can sign up to be notified of when the podcast is doing different things. You never know what you might find when you subscribe to the mailing list for the podcast. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Hey, I appreciate everything that you do. And remember, let's get textual.